Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about the most popular film this week, Crazy Rich Asians. A surprise hit about a Chinese-American girl going to meet her boyfriend's family in Singapore. Crazy Rich Asians has done exceedingly well this past weekend. Both the reviews and the revenue are high for this one. And I have to say, right out the gate, this movie totally deserves it. Crazy Rich Asians is a really funny movie with a good, interesting, original story and a cool cast to boot. I saw it with the wife this past weekend and we both loved it. Sure, it could be seen as a bit of a chick flick, but besides being a little girly, Crazy Rich Asians is a fun ride I would recommend to anyone interested. But today we're not here to question the movie or its merit. Today I want to talk about some of the left-wing marketing and the reporting coming out about the movie now. Now that it's a big success, it looks like the SJWs are out there ready to jump in and call this a win for diversity, even though the movie's not very diverse at all when you think about it. The cast is like 99% Chinese, so really, when they say it's diverse, they mean it's not white. And I think championing a movie for not being white is a bit much, really, especially when Crazy Rich Asians has plenty of other real strengths to compliment it for. I mean, if they just said, hey, it's an all-Asian movie and that's different and awesome, I could get behind that. Of course, we would have to pretend that other all-Asian movies aren't already getting made though, like in Bollywood or Hong Kong, for example. But sure, advertising this as an all-Asian movie is fine, but pretending it's diverse and a win for SJWs is just plain wrong. Really seems like the left is so desperate for a win these days, they're chomping at the bit to claim something. And well, it looks like Crazy Rich Asians is their current fancy, I guess. To kick things off and show you what I'm talking about, let's look at an article from the failing New York Times called Crazy Rich Asians is #1 at box office, proving power of diversity again. And let's not forget, this is the same company that hired Sarah Jung, a wild racist who had been tweeting anti-white bigotry for years. The New York Times hired her despite all of that. Hell, they probably hired her because of her anti-white racism. And now, just a few weeks later, the failing New York Times is supporting Asians and celebrating less whites. Pretty telling. Let's go ahead and check this article out then. Crazy Rich Asians, powered by jubilant reviews and pent-up demand for a major Hollywood film led by Asian stars, took in a strong $25 million at North American theaters over the weekend, easily enough for #1. It was the best result for a PG-13 romantic comedy in 6 years, since Think Like a Man, which featured an all-black primary cast and collected $33 million over its first 3 days. Among all non-sequel comedies, Crazy Rich Asians, made by Warner Brothers, posted the biggest turnout since the R-rated Girls Trip, which was released last summer and focused on 4 black women, a rarity. It's not really that rare, but let's move on. This shows once again with emphasis that true diversity matters. Brad Simpson, a Crazy Rich Asians producer, wrote in an email on Sunday, "Audiences are tired of seeing the same stories with the same characters, and we have to give people a reason to get off their couch or devices. We have to give them something different." Well, I can't agree that people want something different. Hollywood is filled with way too many sequels, reboots, remakes, and spin-offs, so new original stories that are good are always welcome. But I guess I just always cringe at these diversity claims nowadays, especially since this Crazy Rich Asians producer said this shows that true diversity matters. True diversity? Really pushing it to the limit there if you ask me. I don't know about you, but if I'm thinking of true diversity in film, I think of a film that's actually diverse. Like for example, the Star Trek movies, which have big casts with lots of different races, genders, nationalities, and even alien species thrown in there too. Star Trek from 2009 was a diverse film, not Crazy Rich Asians. Crazy Rich Asians is an all-Chinese film, so it's only diverse if you compare it to other movies. But that's not even true either because, like I said before, there are tons of all-Asian movies already made out there every day, every year. In Bollywood, Hong Kong, Bangkok, and even Mollywood, a film spot in Malaysia. So really, this is just one of the first all-Asian movies made in Hollywood, in the Hollywood movie system in America. And to me, that's not really saying that much. Certainly not as much as these producers and the New York Times article would have you believe. And something else that really irks me about this diversity claim is, it seems like it's a payback sort of thing. Like they're saying, hey, there's been so many white movies already, now we're making an all-Asian one as retribution. Like they're artificially trying to balance the scales here or something. And then they're calling that true diversity? Give me a break. Reading on, Crazy Rich Asians, starring Constance Wu and Henry Golding, and a love story complicated by dazzling wealth, his, and a treacherous mother, his, is the first Hollywood studio movie in 25 years to have an all-Asian cast. The last one was The Joy Luck Club, which Disney released in 1993. As a result, Crazy Rich Asians was seen as a watershed moment by many Asian Americans, echoing the emotional manner in which African Americans responded in February to Black Panther, which was rooted in black culture. Yeah, well, I wasn't a big fan of Black Panther taking the diversity angle either. That's another movie that was good on its own, despite all these SJWs latching onto it and calling it their win. If anything, those claims of wokeness about Black Panther, they made me like it less. And I'm really afraid the same thing is about to be happening with Crazy Rich Asians now. I mean, look at how small their little claim is becoming. First, you have to recognize recognize they're only talking about Hollywood movies in America, ignoring all the other movie-producing countries I mentioned before. And now they're also limiting it again, saying it's the first Hollywood studio movie in 25 years to be all Asian. And sure, 25 years is a pretty long time, but it's not that long. And since it's already been limited to just America, well, the fact that it's been a couple decades since we had an all-Asian movie here kinda makes sense. Basically, their claim is getting weaker and weaker by the minute, and their preference for all things to be less white is showing more and more clearly too. Next, let's turn to a video about Crazy Rich Asians from the Today Show, who appear to be doing similar things with their promotion of the picture. Instead of focusing on the great cast and the original tale, Today wants to get in on the white bashing here too. Of course they do. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I mean they want to get in on the pro-diversity propaganda. Check this shit out.
Welcome to Crazy Rich Asians. Based on Kevin Kwan's 2013 novel, Crazy Rich Asians is already making waves for its groundbreaking level of representation. Hollywood has come under immense criticism in recent years for whitewashing Asian and Asian American roles.
Okay, Today Show, slow down there. Let's not pull up a bunch of SJW whitewashing articles and pretend there's a big problem here. The real problem is leftists are overstepping their pushes for diversity, something which they hardly ever even explain why it's good anymore. Wanting more diversity is just assumed to be good, even though these wackadoodle leftists never even try and tell us why. Not anymore. Regardless, these article titles shown here are minor complaints about small, niche movies like Aloha, which was a Cameron Crowe romantic comedy no one even remembers anymore. The next movie listed is Annihilation, another small movie which has some Asian writer at the Daily Beast bitching about it because a white person was cast in an originally Asian part. Doctor Strange had the same kind of silly complaint too, albeit that was a much bigger movie, probably the only significant one on this page in this Today Show video. Ghost in the Shell was pretty big too, but that was a situation where the creator and the original work required a white woman like Scarlett Johansson, but for some zany reason the social justice warriors insisted it should have been Asian, because it was a Japanese comic, I guess? I don't know. Really seems like to me, they just want more Asians and, of course, less whites. Can't forget about that part.
Crazy Rich Asians has an all-Asian cast, the first since Joy Luck Club premiered 25 years ago. It was filmed on location in Singapore and Malaysia and tells the story of Asians and Asian Americans from varying perspectives, heritages, and experiences.
You see, that's all you needed to say today, and that rhymed, so I might hit the hay. But really, saying it's an all-Asian cast that tells a story of varying Asian and American perspectives is good enough. That's a great sell if you ask me. No need to preface it with all these stories about whitewashing. Quit trying to hype up the race war here. Please, for the love of God, stop with this SJW nonsense too. I'm not going to pretend you're pushing for diversity for the good of the world, and I will not accept the idea that Asians are underrepresented in American cinema, just like how I'm not going to complain about Americans being underrepresented in Hong Kong cinema. Both complaints are equally ridiculous, and how the left doesn't see that is just incomprehensible.
Considering Asians make up 60% of the world's population, the scale of representation in this movie for some is a welcome and long overdue change.
That's a little misleading, isn't it? Why bring up the fact that Asians make up 60% of the world's population when we're clearly just talking about American movies from Hollywood? And let's not forget, Asians only make up less than 5% of Americans. That means less than 5 out of 100 people in this country are Asian. And that's the real number we should be looking at when we're considering the representations in the movies here. Not that over-the-top 60% of the world's population, which I'm certain the left has inflated by lumping together all the Asians and Indians and other fringe groups they can squeeze into that figure, whatever it takes to make it bigger, and whatever it takes to push this left-wing propaganda too, I guess.
Second to the high praise for inclusivity is the hilarious cast of characters and all the rom-com trappings that signal a new classic for generations to come.
These people are so posh and snobby, they're snotty. Ew.
Snotty. I like it. The stars of Crazy Rich Asians are here.
This is the cast of diversity and inclusivity, huh? Well, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm just not seeing that. I mean, this cast is great. They're good looking and they all do well in the film. Not to mention those two on the right are pretty hilarious, but I really don't think this is a diverse, inclusive kind of cast. Not the way I would think of it. And I also think this diversity talk is doing the cast a disservice. It's kind of patronizing and belittling if you ask me. Why not compliment them on their successful movie and their talented performances? I know if it was me, I would personally leave all the social justice warrior stuff and the diversity bullcrap out of this. It just makes it sound more like you're trying to prop up this cast because they're not white. And it sounds like the Today Show is trying to virtue signal to the max. And it comes off lame.
This is a groundbreaking moment that's happening right now. Are you guys feeling the love, not just from Asian communities, but from all? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, we've been doing press tours and screenings for a lot of people, and everybody's really moved by it, but also like really thinks it's funny. So people are enjoying it.
Good response. I love this actress, by the way. She's the lead and she does an amazing job. She's also a hottie too, which always helps. But the Today Show host Hoda, on the other hand, she sounds terrible. She comes off so condescending with this whole, wow, you Asians have such a great groundbreaking moment here. Did other non-Asians like this shit too? Then the actress Constance Wu responds, like a class act anyway, politely pointing out that people like the movie because it's funny as well. Something which I've been saying this entire time. In the end, Crazy Rich Asians is a funny, entertaining, and perhaps even a groundbreaking movie. Maybe. Just not for the reasons the New York Times and the Today Show suggest. They're trying to champion this picture as a win for the left, when it's really not. Crazy Rich Asians is a win for movies, for comedy, and for the Asian community to a lesser degree. And saying this is a great all-Asian movie is fine too. That's a lot of the reason I like the movie, in fact. It was really cool to see an all-Asian cast, and to visit some of the cool South Asian locations along with them there. Really, my favorite part of this movie was the main girl was an American. Her character is an Asian from New York City who goes to visit her boyfriend's family in Singapore. We get to follow her journey and learn about his family and their hometown in Singapore along the way. If it was me, I personally would have focused more on the Singapore side of this story, which was much more interesting and relevant than the pro-diversity, anti-white, social justice warrior bullshit these others came up with. What do you guys think? Have you seen Crazy Rich Asians? Was this movie a win for diversity, or was it just good and funny and well done, and that's why people are liking it and it's doing well? I really think the SJWs are looking for a win here, but tell me what you think. Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. See y'all next time.